Alright, you guys, right here you'll see mile marker 1.5 on the tree over there. Okay, it's in pink, 1.5. So that means we are 1.5 miles from the road, from the intersection of Girard and Harris. So there's markers on the trees, and what I'll do is I'll show you how they can look from both sides. So if you're coming on this road one direction, you'll see them. If you're coming on the other direction, you'll see them. But I'm going to try something new. I'm just going to put the iPad on my back and just take you with me on the ride and see if the camera on my back can pick up those mile markers for you, so you can see kind of how long it takes me time-wise to cover it on the bicycle. Of course, if you're walking it, you got to factor in about 3 times as long, if not more, depending on, you know, how capable you are, how fast you're moving. So, that's it. Oh, here comes a fellow bike rider. Hello, sir. Good day. Oh, a Santa Cruz. That's a beautiful bike. That's the one that I was looking at myself, but the bike I got saved me quite a bit of money. I can do just as much as he can, I bet you, or more. Alright guys, so at this mile marker we're going to come a little closer. But again, you see, he rode by, kept our distance, and there's nobody on the trail now. I mean, it's wide open. So Richard is down at the riverside. He's currently washing out his shoes because he stepped in a mud puddle. Alright, let me show you down here. Okay, so here's one area to peek at. You can see the water because it's reflecting. It's the, you know, you can see it's shiny, and there's a pile of logs there, fallen trees and other logs. Well, the bank is pretty high because the water's not very deep. So if I were to walk down there, which would be quite dangerous, I'm not going to do that, and I wouldn't advise anyone else to do so. There's other spots along this creek that you can actually sit down next to it safely and have a picnic or something of that nature. But this spot is cool because you can see all sorts of different things. The waterway and the logs that are built up, paired with this little metal cauldron you see at the bottom of the screen. Kind of hiding behind the bushes. But yeah, it's right down there. Okay. And all the little cauldron does, that little metal groove guy, is it helps water from up the hill, big, tall hill, come down the hillside, the rainwater, things of that nature, so it can flow downward and dump back into the creek. And because the creek is now moving, and they've stopped logging the hillsides out here, there's not enough sediment that can really build up to slow it down. And all sediment is kind of a fancy word for the leftover stuff that mass logging creates. Loose soils and tree particles and eroded dirt and hillsides possibly. They don't really do that as much anymore because they realize it was harmful. So now they're taking precautions, and they are deciding to do more logging in other areas that isn't clearing out the hillsides, because the trees help keep everything intact, keeps it in place, because their roots run deep, right? So what they're doing is they're picking certain areas to do some logging, but then they'll replant it, and so in 10, 20 years' time, there'll be a new batch of trees growing there. And I know that for a fact because I've seen it, because 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there were certain areas that were bare because they had logged them. And now they are flourishing with trees. So if we're going to be using our natural resources, this is probably one of the best ways to do it. You replace what you take and you let it grow again so others can enjoy. So that's that. The creek's really neat. It doesn't really move terribly fast now, but it is a really cool environment because it comes down on both bank sides, and it can dump all the way into the slough out by, down past my house actually, at the foot of Park Street. in that area, Bay Street, those areas are marshy lands in between kind of Eureka and Arcata along the old Arcata way to the left, if you're going to Arcata that way. A lot of marshlands, a lot of farmlands, and so a lot of this water can run to those, which then can dump into the ocean and go back to where it, originally is designed to come from. Water from the sky, water from the earth, keeps everything the way it is. Alright guys, so really cool things. The final stop off is going to be the actual sign that they've posted a couple more miles down the way. It's a little further out. You may not make it all the way to that sign. It's about 5 miles in. And if you're good at math, you can think, okay, if I go 5 miles in, then I know it's going to take me, same time to get out. So you got to figure out your math total there. So I don't have a ton of time because I know that my son will be waking up from his nap soon. So, I will be getting back home to my wife and son. I will share one more piece of video with you, and I will call it good. Richard, you get your shoes clean yet? Yeah. Okay, man. Alright, guys. I'll see you at the next sign, and then we'll say our goodbyes for now. Take care.